Hi friends, welcome back to my kitchen. I'm Courtney Rich with Cake by Courtney, and today we are making a pumpkin poke cake with a caramel whipped cream. Friends, I get speechless about this cake. It is crazy good. You're getting a really moist, delicious, flavorful pumpkin cake, and we're just doing it in a 9x13 pan. Love that, so easy. We're gonna make all our holes, poke it, and then on top of that, we drizzle caramel. Let the caramel soak in to the pumpkin cake layer. And then on top of that, we're adding this caramel whipped cream that is so divine. And I'll grab some toffee chips and we can sprinkle those on top as well. This cake is so yummy. Like I hope you try it like ASAP, especially this fall. It is so perfect for the season. Let's get to making the cake. We're gonna do that first. And for the caramel, actually, I'm just gonna have you look down into the comments, down into the caption. You'll find the link for making the caramel. So just to make this video a little bit shorter so you're not here forever, head over to that video so you can watch how to make the salted caramel, and you're gonna use that in the cake for the drizzle, but then also for the whipped cream. So today we're gonna make the cake and then also make that caramel whipped cream. First thing, we mix those dry ingredients, put in our nutmeg and our ginger and our salt we have in there, cinnamon, baking powder, so many good spices. All that flavoring is gonna be amazing, amazing, amazing in this cake. And we've got our all-purpose flour. So I like to just whisk those together so they're just evenly distributed, and we can get out any clumps in the flour just to make sure that that batter is really silky smooth as we start to mix all the wet ingredients. Now, this cake batter comes together so easily, I'm just gonna use a whisk. So to get us started, we've got some granulated sugar and a little brown sugar. And then we're gonna start by mixing that with some oil. And you can use vegetable, you can use canola. If you like coconut oil, use that too. I'd say maybe just not olive oil, but other than that, you can use the oil of your preference. We're gonna mix those together, just get that sugar incorporated. Stir that up so it's mixed well, so I'll just take a minute or so. Kind of looks a little crumbly. Do not stress. You can also use a hand mixer. And if you need to break up some of those brown sugar crumbles, get in there, break those up. Let's add our eggs. And we've got some vanilla. Sometimes I love a recipe that you don't need to grab the mixer for. And this is one of those recipes. Somehow it just feels a little easier. I don't know, is that just me, where you're just grabbing a whisk or a spoon and you can just bring it together in a bowl like this? Okay, once those ingredients are mixed together, we've got our pumpkin puree. I love the Libby's brand. Look how good and decadent that is. Okay, scoop that all in. The smell already is so delicious. All right, let's add our flour mixture. Voila. And we'll stir that together. Not quite as vigorously, so we need to be gentle. Remember, if you overmix the cake batter, once your flour is added, you could get a really dense cake because it starts to overwork the gluten, which can cause that to be really dense and not rise very well. So we're just gonna go slow, but we wanna make sure we get all those clumps of flour out. So using that whisk is super helpful. Give it a couple more stirs. It's gonna get smoother. And that's your pumpkin cake. We'll just put it in the 9x13 pan. I've sprayed it with nonstick spray, and then we'll get this in the oven. We're gonna bake this 9x13 cake at 325 for about 33 to 37 minutes. Remember, when you check the cake, One, you don't want it jiggly in the center anymore, but then also I like to put a toothpick in the center and I want it to come out with a few moist crumbs on it, and that's how I know it's ready to come out. For the caramel whipped cream, this is something you can do ahead of time, and I actually like to make it a little earlier, at least part of it. So the caramel, definitely make that early. You want it to cool to room temperature and even refrigerate it. You don't want any heat on that when you're adding it to your cream. We're gonna add our heavy whipping cream and our caramel, and we're gonna mix these together really well. And this is something, if you want it to work just beautifully, you would do the night before. You're gonna put on top of the cake. That is ideal, so that we get a really good stiff piece with our cream. So I've got our caramel in there and our heavy cream, and we're gonna mix those really well. And then we're gonna refrigerate this overnight, or at least a couple hours if you can, to get it nice and cold. Another tip that's gonna help you with your whipped cream, whether it's the caramel whipped cream or just plain whipped cream, is I do like to chill my stainless steel bowl in the freezer for a little bit. So the bowl's really cold, and that's gonna help the whipped cream mix even faster. After the caramel and the whipped cream have chilled for a little bit, we're gonna add some powdered sugar and just turn your mixer up to high speed. And we are gonna whip this caramel whipped cream until we get some medium stiff peaks. The caramel whipped cream is done. It's delicious. I'm gonna grab our cooled pumpkin cake. We're gonna poke some holes in it, add the caramel, spread this on top, and then we get to dig in. When your cake is cooled to room temperature, just start to destroy it. Poke the holes in it. This is gonna be done with a big spoon, and don't worry, you may have that happen, or you just take little bites. Or if you want smaller, this cake is so moist, it's hard to avoid that. You can also poke it with a fork. Either way, but just make sure you get plenty of holes. You want that caramel to really soak in to the cake so that you get that caramel flavor and the moisture all throughout. So this is gonna look not great for a minute, but don't stress. We're like totally okay that some of the cake has come out, because that means we get to eat it. Oh, this cake is so good. Doesn't even need anything on it. But we are gonna put our caramel, drizzle that on top. We're gonna let that soak in. Don't worry if it goes down the sides. This is a messy cake. So then let's just spread that on top, kind of pushing it in to the holes. Totally okay if it comes around the side. That's why I like a glass bowl with this one, or a glass dish, because if you see some of the caramel on the side, I think it's so pretty. But push that caramel in to those grooves, and you're gonna see it's gonna start to settle in. Now on top is the caramel whipped cream that we just made. And we want this on the entire cake. So just go ahead and dollop that on. You can use the back of the spoon, or I'll grab my offset icing spatula again to spread that out. Now this cake is actually such a great cake to make ahead of time. You could have this done the day before you want to serve it. Just cover it and you can refrigerate it. It stays so moist, and that flavor actually really enhances and gets stronger as it sits. That caramel really just saturates the cake so nicely. And then you just want a little something extra. Grab some toffee chips. If it's got some of the chocolate in there, like the Heath bar, great. Or if it's just the toffee, both will work. I kind of have a mixture. This is just what I had in the pantry. But I love a little crunch. And then that extra bit of caramel flavor on the top is Amazing. All right, let me clean up the space a little bit, and we gotta cut a slice. We gotta take a bite of this. Let's dig in and get an inside look. This first one, here we go. Okay. Look. Sorry, that is not the prettiest slice, friends, but can you see that caramel coming through in the cake? Oh my gosh. All right, look at that. You're gonna have that all throughout the cake. So when you take a bite, you grab that caramel, you grab that whipped cream and the pumpkin, and then you enjoy. This is my happy place. I don't even know what to tell you. You have to make this. The salted caramel, kind of that bitterness of that caramel, like that salted caramel, with how sweet like the cake and the whipped cream are. It's gonna be your favorite thing this fall. Recipes down in the captions. Can't wait for you to make it. I hope you love it. I'll see you next time.